Milano è una vera metropoli, forte e coraggiosa, ma anche accogliente. A poco mi sono reso conto che avrei potuto diventare qualcuno qui. Giorgio Armani.
I'm MB DeLocchio. Arrivals and departures began as a freak idea amid the COVID-19 lockdown in London right after relocating from Los Angeles. As an artist, author, combat veteran, and social worker, I wanted to make sense of a new and uncertain world. Through these dispatches from around the world, I explore lessons learned, new discoveries, amazing food, life-altering events, and stories of real people. Milan is a city with a sophisticated cosmopolitan vibe with gritty medieval edges. An elegant metropolis that sits high in northern Italy, veiled in fog like a delicately carved Renaissance statue. It's known as the economic heart of Italy, housing the headquarters for various firms in the financial industry, making it not only the second largest city following Rome, but a vital engine for the nation. It's high fashion, high art, and high prices in Milan. But there's so much more going on beneath its iconic surface. Milan became a home away from home for me because my partner Alex grew up here and still has most of his family and close friends throughout the city. For me, Milan is a city of reflection. You wander around and find treasures only if you're looking with sharp intent. Otherwise, it's easy to get wrapped up in its famous fog, known in Milanese dialect as nebbione, and not see much at all. There are two main airports that get you into Milan. One is Milan's Malpensa Airport in the far northwest, which is about a 50-minute car ride to the city center, and Linate Airport, which is directly to the east. That also might take about 40 minutes to get to city center because of traffic. Once inside Milan, you'll have access to an easy-to-use underground metro system in addition to other forms of public transportation. Why would you go to see the Duomo and the Piazza?
I would say the Duomo, it's amazing when you get inside the window, the colors. If you go on a sunny day, the lights that comes through the window, and it kind of like creates like, arcobaleno, like a rainbow. Inside, and something that I only saw in St. Peter's, similar but not as intense there. So Piazza del Duomo, the meeting point, I would say. So if you are going out again with your friends, 90% of the time that's where you will meet. It's a perfect located right in the middle of everything. If you want to go shopping, you can go down Corso Vittorio Emanuele. That's where some of the nicest place to shop, like the Rinascente and a bunch of others. Interstore if you're a soccer fan or football fan. Yeah, so you would walk through one of the most expensive place to live in Milan, for sure. It's a lot of old building, been there for hundreds of years. Beautiful place to walk, although there is not a lot of stores in between. So you would leave like an area like La Scala, where there is a lot of restaurants, a lot of stores, and then you would walk for maybe a mile and a half in just like in a neighborhood. I would say very high-end, beautiful building, but just not a lot to see. And then you get to another area called Brera, which is would be like kind of considered the art district, if you want, of Milan. That's where the art school are, the Pinacoteca is, and then again you start seeing a lot of galleries, a lot of stores, and some of the best restaurants in Milan as well. So the Castello Sforzesco is definitely one of the must-see places in Milan. First of all, it's a castle, so it's already something unusual, especially for people coming from outside of Europe. And then all around is surrounded by this very nice big park. Some would say maybe like the Central Park of Milan, although not as appealing in some area. I would say it's not as considered as a meeting point. Maybe not one of the safest area of the city as well. Although during the day, definitely something nice and something really pretty to walk around. The castle inside has some really cool attraction. Has the Egyptian Museum, which is probably one of the best in Italy, second only to maybe the one in Turin. And just a bunch of small attractions, small museum that comes and goes. There is a lot of Leonardo da Vinci stuff inside, but even just walking around without having to go inside of any of the museum, if you don't have time, if you don't want to, if it's not something you're interested, I think it just brings you back to the medieval times. It feels like you're walking through a little medieval village. Yeah, so if you are a very wealthy person, definitely you want to walk through Via Monte Napoleone and Via della Spiga. There are two very interesting street, I would say. They're very narrow, although they are surrounded by the best, stores in the city, maybe in the world. You go from Armani, Valentino, Loro Piana, one after another. Very funny. None of those stores will ever had a price tag outside, so you really need to be certain that you're gonna go in and you can afford it what you want, because it's gonna be expensive. It is, again, as I say, always very busy. Although for the Milanese, it's just a way to walk between places. It's a good place also to see celebrities. A lot of soccer, football players will be there, their family, TV people, actors, national, international, they always be there because that's where all the ateliers are. So it's really cool to walk through. If you're looking for something more affordable, I would say definitely it's the Rinascente, although can get expensive because it's definitely a very, very high-end department store. Although the experience it's great. You go from floor to floor, seeing great, amazing clothing, and then when you get to the very top, there's my personal favorite part, which is the food part. They have 3 or 4 restaurants on top, and then like a very high-end grocery where you can find some of the best food in Milan. So that's definitely what I would say. If you want looking for something definitely more affordable, Corso Buenos Aires, a little further down way from the downtown area. It's the longest street in Europe that is just dedicated to shopping. It's several miles long. Definitely you can find everything and anything. And again, as I say, a lot more affordable, a lot more mom and pop stores. Still really nice and high-end in some cases, but definitely a lot cheaper. So Fashion Week, so everybody would ask and talk about it. Stay away from Milan during Fashion Week. First of all, prices will be 10 times higher. The city will be an absolute nightmare to navigate. The traffic expands 3-4 times more than usual. And then again, just the pricing and very hard to get anywhere because there is so many people. So definitely, as much as it's cool, the idea, I would definitely not recommend leaving the city during there. So if you are in Milan and you want to see art, you would probably want to go and see the Last Supper, or as we say, il cenacolo. We recommend that you make reservation way in advance because only a few people at a time can go in. It's a very secure area, so don't expect just to show up and be able to get in and buy tickets. But Milan is definitely a lot more than just the Last Supper. There is plenty of museum, there is plenty of things to do. There is always art shows, and you just need to, research a little bit. Some of my personal favorite, I would definitely say the Museum of Science and History, which is in a very nice area called Porta Venezia. It's very nice. It's really good for kids. It's a lot of history and a lot of science, and so there is definitely a lot to see. Of course, you can go and spend an entire day, if not more, inside of the Pinacoteca di Brera, where you can also just see some of the most amazing sculpture just walking through the courtyard without having to go in if you just don't have the time and wanted to spend the time to really go and explore inside. Although if you do have the time, it's definitely something that I would recommend. You would see probably some of the most unique Renaissance painting that you probably would ever see unless you are in either Rome or Florence, which again would be a whole different story. Other areas of interest, the churches, of course, the Duomo. The Duomo has a museum inside as well. On the bottom floor, there is all the saints and some of the tombstone that you can see, which they are pretty amazing, like a little bit everywhere in Italy. And I would say probably the Church of Sant'Ambrogio also. It's something that a lot of people really enjoy. Next to that, there is the University, the Catholic, so the Università Cattolica, which is also a beautiful campus where you can walk in and you feel like you are back in like the 1300s. It's a beautiful campus to walk by.
While the top places to visit throughout Milan can be found in almost every travel vlog out there, my favorite site is a piazza steeped in World War II history rather than the medieval or Renaissance sites. Milan, being an economic powerhouse, was subjected to ample Allied bombing during World War II, making it one of the most bombed cities in the entire country. But this is where World War II fascism had a symbolic defeat, and should stand as a history lesson on how fascism should be handled.
So Piazza Loreto, it's definitely something that is part of the history of modern Italy. Most people will know that because it's the square where Benito Mussolini, his mistress, and some of his second in command, if you want, were hanged after being killed. And show to the population of Milan that as almost as a message that fascism was not going to continue. So the reason why they choose Piazza Loreto to show the bodies was because a few years prior to that, the fascists actually did killed 15 partigiani in the square. So that was kind of a message. So while it's a dark part of Italian history, it's also an important part of Italian history, and did send a message at the time. And also, it's important for us to remember those dark days, and for our, kids to learn about the history of our country.
What can I say? It's a sweet, sweet reminder that fascism is not to be met with some uncomfortable smiles and passive tolerance, but with rope and to be pummeled with rotting fruit and vegetables. Or twisted tea. Being in Milan, perhaps a case of San Pellegrino. Come vuoi.
Food. So when you talk about food in Milan, it's a little hard to say what it's your favorite restaurant, what's your favorite area, because there's literally so many to choose from. And Milan now being a touristy city, you don't have those like menu turistico, like when you go to Roma and you always see those and you want to stay away from. At least that's what an Italian person will tell you. So literally in Milan is just getting inside and really find out what's the best things on the menu, because there are going to be so many restaurants. But if you need to choose, if you're in a specific area, some of my favorite would be, if you are in the Duomo area, definitely a must try is Luini. It's a panzerotti place, so to go. Panzerotti it's a fried dough, kind of like a small calzone, and you can pick between I don't know, 30, 40 different kind. The line is extremely long, usually most of the time, and also you have to be careful, pick the right line between the credit card and the cash only, because if you have one or the other and you get stuck in the one, then if you don't have one or the other, you'll have to start from the beginning. If you just want to have like a travel through Italy and without going to places, just go to Peck. Peck is like a super high-end gastronomia store in Milan. Been there for, I don't know, 50, 60 years. So it's kind of like in Milano they would say la gioielleria of the food, so the jewelry of food. So very high-end product. Although is a must place just to walk in. I do believe they also have a small little restaurant inside right now where you can try some of the things that they make. And then again, you can find some of the most expensive and different things that you could probably not find in any other grocery store. So that would be for the Duomo area. Again, we did mention the top of the Rinascente is also really cool. Food is okay, although the experience and the grocery store out there is definitely something that's worth to see it. Again, it depends on what part of town. There is many part of towns that now are known as up and coming for food. One I would say is the area of Isola, where you can find those old trattorie that now have become kind of like a new trend of really typical Milanese food. So you will find your risotto, you will find your ossobuco, you will find your cotoletta alla Milanese, and then if you have time, and it's one of my favorite area in the city, would definitely be the Navigli. The Navigli is a complete opposite part of town, going towards the south part of the city, and that's Navigli. It's pretty much where the canal were created to bring food and bring material from the Adriatic Sea, and all around those canals, which are not used right now, so they're just just small little rivers. You're surrounded by, again, some of the best restaurants, some of the best food. You can take it to go for a drink, have a full dinner. A lot of different osterias are there again, trattorias, and just a cool place just to walk around and look at the street art as well. A lot of that, and just a very, very typical Milanese experience. If you go on the weekend, they have usually markets, street markets, where they don't only sell food, but you will see like all antiques, and a very nice and cool area to be.
In short, Milan has become one of the few special places in the world that feel like home. I'm just fortunate enough to have in-laws here who happen to be amazing cooks and wonderful storytellers. And like the Armani quote in the beginning of this episode, it's a fearless city, but scratch the fashionista surface and it's welcoming and warm to its core. As we leave Milan, and if we're lucky to find a flight out of Milan's Linate airport, we get to pass my favorite square, Piazza Loreto, where a Mussolini and company dangled in the square like ripe mangoes. I'll miss you, Milan. Until next time.